So hello and welcome to the Expat Pod. My name is James, your host, and today I'm joined by my friend from Liverpool for a long time ago. I think 2013, 14 we met, maybe 14. Stoyan, who's originally from Bulgaria. Do you want to give yourself an introduction, mate?
As James said, I'm from Bulgaria. I did my bachelor's in Liverpool. That's how we met. I've lived in the UK for about 7 years before going back to my home country of Bulgaria. At the moment, I live in Sofia.
Hello and welcome to section 1 of the podcast, all about getting there. So Stoyan, we know you've lived in the UK, but why did you choose to live in the UK to study? What was the reason for it?
Yeah, so originally I did my high school degree in Bulgaria. So you need to decide where you wanna go and live abroad, for example, and in which uni. So Bulgaria joined the European Union in about 2008. I think that was the right year. But essentially after that, everything in the we could go to all universities. So I chose the UK for, I don't know, it's quite a big country, wealthy, good education. I found Liverpool look kind of nice. I heard of the city, heard of the football teams and the music, and I thought like, yeah, why not? I'm gonna try. So that's how I ended up there.
And what research had you done before you kind of moved? What did you look for?
Well, very limited. So I, I mean, I was just going off stereotypes about England, about its, Empire days, and yeah, I just didn't know much about it. In general, Bulgaria before. I mean, traditionally Bulgaria is quite a closed off country. So recently we just started kind of integrating with the European Union and things like that. So yeah, I think there was a lot of cliches around it. I didn't expect what I was gonna see. I knew I just saw the rankings. I just saw the degree, the qualification I would get, and I thought, yeah, well, it looks good, so might as well give it a go.
Perfect. And then when you were looking to move, as you said that Bulgaria joined the European Union, I guess it was quite easy for you then to come across because at that time the UK was still in the European Union, so there was nothing you had to do in terms of visas or documentation before coming. Was it just book a ticket and come?
Yeah, exactly. That's that was one of the very big benefits. To be honest, it was harder going to the UK, for example, than going to Germany. At the time, I had like dates with friends who went to different European countries, but essentially just because of the UK still had like the fees, so the education was quite expensive. But with the student loans and things like that, it's you didn't have to pay up front. It's fine to kind of just go in and at least initially not get that burden. But everything else is quite no visas, nothing. You just go in freely. I know that have changed now, but at the time it was yeah.
Perfect. And then, so were there other choices you had in the UK for schools other than Liverpool?
So yeah, I got accepted. I can't remember anymore. I think I got accepted into a couple of other unis, but I think Liverpool was the best one. I can't think of the other ones honestly. I think one was in Manchester. The other one, not the University of Manchester. The not so
Manchester Metropolitan.
Yeah, no, even that one. It's outside, starting with S or something. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
Salford.
It's yeah, that one. Yeah. So this one and a couple of others. I know I had like 5 choices. I got accepted into 3 or 4 of them, and Liverpool was the best one in terms of ranking, in terms of the degree I wanted to do. I obviously wanted to do civil engineering. I was quite academically driven when I was going to that uni, and I kind of wanted to it was mostly about, with me at least, it was mostly about getting the best that I could at that point. So I didn't know much about it. You just literally look at the marketing of the university, you look at the rankings, you look at this, and you go, okay, what's the best I can do at this point? So that's how I ended up in Liverpool.
Nice. And then before you moved, how did you sort out your accommodation? Was it all help from university, or did you have to choose that as well? I know when I was moving for university, there was like a ballot for which halls you got.
Yeah, it was a combination between actually talking to a couple of people and asking them what are the accommodations, but also it was like some standard university that recommended standard accommodations recommended from the university. So I think you remember that one close to the engineering building, to the electrical engineering, the literally right across the road. That's where I went. I
Crown
think
Court or something.
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah.
They're moving them away from Smithdown Road and away. They're all moving them into the centre of Liverpool, from what I understood last time I went.
Okay. That's yeah. I found it the accommodation was quite easy to sort out. I found it quite expensive coming from Bulgaria at that point. But looking back, I think when I went to like different units, so like in Leeds, when I had friends from Dutch Uni and obviously from Imperial, like it's such a Liverpool was very well sorted in student life. Just everything was well put to not care about anything other than your study.
Yeah, that's great. And was there anything else you needed to think about before you moved?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was such a rush. Like my parents. So that was the first time I flew was to Liverpool. That was the first time my parents have flown to like anywhere. They came with me for like a week or so, and they were so confused. I was so confused. I don't think I prepared well. Definitely not. I think nowadays, like people from Bulgaria coming to like different countries, they're much more prepared than. And it's just more settled in to fly places and things like that. About that point, I felt like really anxious about everything there.
That's great. Well, perfect. I think at least we know now how you got to England. So we'll join back for section 2. Hey everyone, and welcome back to section 2 of the podcast, all about being there. This is where I ask my guests, what their first impressions were of where they've lived, what day-to-day life was like, and then any other kind of silly anecdotes or kind of visions you've thought of or observations you've seen, to please share them. So Stoyan, you left Bulgaria then, your first time on the plane, you land in, I guess, John Lennon Airport or Manchester. What is your first impression of Liverpool or England or both?
Well, obviously it was very a very long time ago, but I think my impression up until that point of England was the stereotypical posh people in London. So I thought, okay, so that was my kind of idea. I even thought like there are people with monocles. Like I was imagining Victorian era like England,
Top hat.
top hats and stuff like that. So I was very much out of the loop in everything going on in the country. So when I went there, I think first impressions was that apart from like a couple like stuff that you set up for tourists, nothing else was how I imagined it. So like, obviously the Black Caps, for example, I was like, oh, I've seen that in movies. Okay, so that was there. But life in I was so it was so interesting because obviously Liverpool is also a very artistic city, very musical. So I didn't know about when I did my research, for example, I thought about Liverpool as being this industrial old, and I can imagine it rough, like industrial docks and kind of very a lot of ships, a lot of. I didn't even know what I was thinking, but I just knew that that's what I thought about the industry. And then I go in and you obviously had the Beatles and the Beatle culture and the football, like everyone talked about football all the time, which I couldn't relate to. They talk in this weird like accent that nobody fully understood and had the accents and at places. So I don't know if you like remember Martin, he did like amazing, he was like studying the accent, he replicated it like the and like stuff like that, but I couldn't do it. Like it's so overall I think like with Liverpool, first impressions were that you really learn the place from stereotypes, and that's not great. It's you go in and there was this relaxed people there, this very youthful culture, artistic culture, calm people that like listened. That was very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think people seem to. The accent I fully understand. Well, I don't understand it fully, but I understand where you're coming from. In that I'm from Liverpool, and I don't understand the accent fully. I might not have the full accent. I know I do often speak inaudibly at times, but not to the same extent. Um, but yeah, I see what you mean about the artistic culture and everything. It's a really beautiful city to walk around. The architecture is amazing. I think Eurovision starts this week in Liverpool, which is pretty cool, which is the music bit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and I remember like the first, I think for you actually speak, yeah, obviously no, you don't have the full accent, but the first 2 months that we spoke, I kind of like, I got a couple of words and like piecing sentences together. James said like, I heard like, there's something. Yeah, like, let's think about the response now based on that, and then just smile now. But yeah, but I told you all the time, like you said something like it was a joke, and like I like got better with the long. That's quite funny. You were saying jokes all along. Like,
Most of the things I say tend to be a joke, so yeah, you just laugh and there's a response. But no, so I probably speak too fast, especially, and something I've actually learned living abroad is the skill, and my dad always taught me, and my parents as well, about slowing your speech down for everyone to hear you, but more so when it's people who don't speak English as a first language. And until you maybe leave or get like immersed in a culture which is full of English as a second language, then you don't fully understand how the impact of not slowing down hinders you. Moving to Sweden, I think my speech has become a lot calmer and slower, and enunciating more words. There's still times I get really excited and speak really quickly, but most of the time I use American English sometimes as well because it gets the point across, because people don't know English, which is really upsetting.
Okay. That's very disappointing for me, because I just thought I was getting better with the language. Now here, like, you're slowing down.
And I'm sure it's like a convergence of both. Yeah.
Okay.
Because Andre said the same thing when I interviewed him. Like, yeah, when we first started listening to you speak, like, it was really quick. And I'm like, yeah, it's part of, I guess, the accent of where I'm from to some extent, but also my laziness to slow down and want to say something really fast is probably a combination of both. I'm improving it, I think. It helps for a podcast, because if you speak too quickly and inaudibly, it kind of ruins the environment for people listening. So hopefully, overdoing this, I get better as well, at least presenting my voice.
I'm your foreign feedback. I'm saying that I am able to do this, so that's fine.
Yeah, perfect. And then I think, from memory, you had a very funny story of getting into a taxi when you first arrived in England.
Oh, I mean, I had lots of those stories. I think you're like when I just tried to go somewhere and I just couldn't understand the guy and I just couldn't get my message across.
Yeah, I know. I think it was you were trying to get to where you were meant to live, and you ended up being dropped off somewhere completely different.
Oh, right. I think I've forgotten that story, but it totally makes sense that this happened. Yeah. I can totally see it in the beginning. That's what happened. Liverpool was, for example, maybe a very stressful situation. I put myself out there quite a lot. But because obviously, like, there is quite a big debate when you go to see whether you should surround yourselves with people from your country, whether you should go in and find the biggest Bulgarians. And lots of people do that. Like, you remember, for example, Chinese, they always went together, and there was this cliques and groups of people from this. So I did that. I decided to, with you guys, I like were and try to integrate in the society, and I'm very happy I did that, even though it was scary. Like that's really well that opened up my on things.
I think when you bring the rakia with you from Bulgaria, we all just flock to you. Like, yeah, we'll hang out with Stoyan as well, because he's brought this very like strong Bulgarian drink, which left a lot of people worse for wear. It's really fun.
Yeah, that's. I still regret doing that. I think it's a little bit too strong.
You've got to learn from somewhere, right? So that's great, and I guess it's a good point you make about finding like who to hang out with. I think you do have the choice of like since moving to Sweden, I wanted to speak or hang out with more Swedish people. It is difficult to do that. I tend to find myself with more internationals. I still have some really good Swedish friends, but especially going out in the week, the international like people living here are more likely to be free. Maybe because they haven't got the depth of social network that people who've lived here all their lives do, which is kind of one way of thinking about it. I know that in Liverpool as well, I was somehow part of the Brazilian society because Felipe and Andre just invited me along. So there was some photographs from like on Facebook from the Brazilian society, and I was always in them. I'm an honorary Brazilian person, but it's how we grow as people. Where you have to immerse yourself with diverse cultures and countries and backgrounds. So that's great. And then going on to the next point, I guess you went to Leeds after Liverpool. How did Leeds compare to Liverpool? Very similar in terms of the both northern cities, both industrial cities. Obviously, Leeds is not by the coast, so it's not as nice. But
yes, yeah, I think Leeds. It was very similar, to be honest. I mean, I went there to work. I did my first engineering job there. So it was a different experience, kind of working. Your life is somewhere else. It's not a student. But I got that one that was more integrated. I spoke the language much better. I could understand what's going on, and I also thought the coach important. But for example, everywhere I went, there was kind of, I don't know. I think what really kept me there. In the UK, especially in the north, volleyball. That was the one. Like that's like where I felt like okay, that's something I get a lot apart. So that's from my friends. That's how like I integrated people and kind of just felt like part of the. So in Leeds, it was the same thing. I played for the men's team in Leeds. After the Liverpool in the volleyball. So that's what like kept my social life existing.
Yeah.
You know? Also, like Leeds had a bigger so I just met the guys and the girls from the site in Leeds. Through volleyball, again. There was a guy in the volleyball team that was Bulgarian. And I started hanging out with them, and that's my best friends are from that. So
wow. I think I also found volleyball again since moving to Sweden because where I lived in the Midlands, there's only one team near me, and it was really expensive to play. There's two in the city I'm in now, and a huge indoor beach volleyball place. So I'm playing like volleyball 4 times a week, and that's how I'm making friends. And again, some of them there's some Swedes, but a lot of them are internationals as well. And it's my level has gone up quite a bit since the start of the year, which has been good.
I was gonna ask, did you become good now? Did you?
I still play middle. I can block really well, and I can now hit quick through the middle, but I can't pass.
Oh, okay, good. No, stick to the middle.
Yeah, but no, it's a really good thing, and yeah, sport. Everywhere I've lived, I've always joined a sports team, whether it's volleyball, hockey, basketball. The 3 I've tended to play. I do like playing a lot of tennis, but it's a lot more like one-on-one or doubles, so it's not as popular. Paddle is huge in Sweden. Start playing a lot of paddle, but again, it's like smaller teams, so you don't have the same kind of group dynamic you get from like a team sport.
What's paddle?
Paddle is like tennis, but it's indoors. And there's like glass walls, kind of like squash, but there's a net. It's very popular in Spain.
Oh, I've seen it. Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Like, in the gifts.
Yeah, it's really good fun. Like, you should definitely try it. I think you'd really enjoy it.
Maybe.
Because I joined an international like racket sports group in Sweden, and that's how I found out about paddle and started playing it. And actually, I interviewed one of the people who runs it for this podcast as well, Eunice. So. Through that, I'm making friends and finding really cool, interesting people as well who've lived and travelled in many places. So going forward from Leeds, you moved to London. and I guess you moved for your master. Now, what was that like? Because London is its own kind of micro country in itself, where in fact it's got more people than Sweden, so it's its own country.
Yeah, yeah. Well, London's like completely different. In like, I think obviously in London the cost completely different. Everything else, it was so much better to be an expat in because like center are international anyway. It's just the whole extremely costly. It's very. I don't know. It's just I was a student again. First of all, like it's because I stopped my studies for 2 years to work, and then when I went back to London, being a student, there is testing there. But I don't know. It's so London was really really fun, and that's where I kind of even started seeing myself as because I never really fully integrate. In you kind of accept that that's the society there, and it's a little bit old though necessity, and you have to find ways to become part of it. Whereas in London it's like whoever man, like you are from where you are, like just everyone's from somewhere, and you have this interaction. So it was completely different. I kind of from an international perspective, I think it's better to kind of be in this city, in a big city in general.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. Of you haven't got to conform to I guess a personality in London because it's made up of so many different cities in itself. And then you just said you'll find someone who has the same kind of interests as you somewhere in that city. There's something for everyone because it's so well populated, which is I guess quite comforting if you are international. But also you're not alone in being international. You're not. Okay, you probably are still a minority, but the percentage of internationals versus locals is significantly higher, which will probably make you feel more comfortable.
Yeah, but having said that, I still played like volleyball. It was still the same thing. Like it was still the same kind of group that I had, but outside of it, it was a reality.
And did you play with Josue in Richmond?
I did. I played some beach there with him. I didn't play indoor. I don't think. I think like he was scared at that point because I became better, and it's fun to whoever wants to know.
No, yeah, he's playing a lot of volleyball now, though. I think.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Then I won't play him. I
think he played for England in Gothenburg, so I went to go watch him. I mean, he lost, but he represented England.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
It's called NEBS, which is a Northern European volleyball something.
But wait, Joe plays for the national team of England?
Well, no, he's like the 5th or 6th pairing. Like the really good people were somewhere else, so he stepped up. I'm probably doing him a massive disservice, but yeah. And sorry for listening about all this volleyball talk, but one of our friends played in an international tournament, which was pretty cool. Yeah, and then going back to like living in England, what was your favorite part of British culture or British life?
I think I'm I don't know if I have a favorite part. I think everything is. I'm very proud to have been there, like for these 7 years. I'm very proud of having lived for that and having learned. I went to learn. I went to kind of experience something else. And after the Bulgaria is obviously now still catching up with kind of the rest of the European Union and the European countries. So I think there's stuff in our culture and stuff that we're trying to iron out. And I really love how good the British culture is in terms of work, in terms of habits, in terms of like discipline, in terms of a lot of stuff that I found like very useful later on in life. I feel more prepared for life having been there. So that might not be the answer. Like it's not one thing. It definitely isn't tea. It's not definitely not that. So
it's not Yorkshire pudding.
No, it's not Yorkshire pudding. Definitely food was a minus, but I think overall,
I mean, you just haven't found good food.
Fish and chips. I give you that. Fish and chips, yeah, I like them, yeah.
I mean because England in general, in most big cities anyway, you have, there's a stereotype of English people don't have food, or English or British food doesn't really exist. It's all potatoes. And I mean, I get why you'd say that. We do have food, very good food. But what we do really well is we have a lot of like international restaurants in our cities. Again, because we've got quite a diverse city with different people from all over the world. So you don't have to have like beans on toast for dinner every night or fish and chips.
Yeah. No, I mean, like the lifestyle and just in general, I mean, everything. Like I'm trying to bringing it back here, and I feel like I'm trying to, it's so the first Liverpool when we know each other, because we knew each other just for the first year, right? It's went off. You started your life in the industry, but I think after that, I just started integrating, getting the habits of living in Britain, and I don't think it's something that I will, it's always gonna hurt me, and something except for food. Yes, that's everything.
I mean, it's the one thing you cannot take away with you. We do good beer though.
Yes, beer. I started drinking beer actually. Yes, I like beer, and I like the British beer. I do. Well,
yeah, we make up for it. The lack of food with good alcohol.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's unless you've got anything more to like talk about your life in England, we can go on to section 3. So hey everyone, welcome to section 3 of the podcast, which I still haven't actually named, but it's like a review of my guest's time, so Stoyan's time in the UK. So I guess the first kind of question I would ask, if you could go back 7 years, not 7 years now, nearly 10 years, would you, it's a long time, right? Would you have done anything differently? Would you have told yourself, hey, you should do this thing?
No, I would have been, so my wishful thinking is that I would have been more open in the beginning, and that I would have been more relaxed and try to do a better job in existing in like social life. I don't know if that was possible at that time, but definitely like for some people it is. I don't know if other than that, when I wouldn't change 7 years I think in
I mean, it's a good point you mentioned about like wanting to be open, but I guess you went on a journey to come open by being abroad. So for going, you push the snowball down the hill, which slowly gained momentum for you to be able to open up. For lack of a better analogy of snowballs down hills, but you gave yourself the momentum by leaving, and then it just takes time for you to get to the stage of being comfortable enough or brave enough to immerse yourself in the society, which is only a benefit or a success that you've had yourself. And then I guess kind of continuing back, what would you give any advice to other people leaving Bulgaria for studying?
Yeah, I think definitely. Firstly, like I think I definitely like it, and I'm happy to come back. But going somewhere means that you're changing yourself like very intimately. It's not easy. It's very hard to to get out of your comfort zone, to change who you are, to change like what you're thinking. At the end of the day, go out on the other side. Like so much more. Also, more ideas. Appreciation for the world, and I don't want to. So,
No, but that's great, and yeah, as you mentioned, we grow based on our experiences, and if you can expand the different types of experiences you're open to or you kind of have in your life, then you're only going to grow more, and that means leaving where you're from, be that to a different city or to a different country, then you're only going to, I guess, learn more. Or for me, it's gaining some empathy of being an immigrant, because I'd never lived abroad and everyone always speaks my language, so I've not had to learn another language. Whereas like now I'm trying badly to learn Swedish. Still, I'm very elementary with it. But I know enough to food and drinks and do shopping. I still can't do my job in Swedish. Like you can do your job in English, but I can, I guess, survive and get a taxi to the airport. I can say, prata engelska, which means like speak English. Okay. Everyone here speaks English. It's pretty, as you know, because actually, a funny thing is just to like sidebar. When I came to Gothenburg for work, Doran was actually here.
Yeah, that's true.
With one of the universities, so we went for a beer, which was like the first time I'd seen him in about 7 years, which was also quite a funny anecdote we've shared.
Yeah.
What do you think of Sweden when you visited, out of curiosity?
Oh yeah, I love Sweden. I think Gothenburg was really nice city. Well, obviously I was just there for like I don't know a couple of weeks. So overall, like nothing, like anything. I think it was like fun. I liked I definitely like the people. So I think the people are like very friendly there. Like, specific culture, very like.
So you came in the summer, right?
Like UK in the summer.
Yeah, no, yeah. So in the summer, everyone is super friendly and nice and open. In the winter, they stay at home and hibernate.
The summer, the 3 days of like the sun in the UK. That's
Yeah, well, you get a lot more here in Sweden, but yeah.
No, that's I found it. It's so that's the one thing that because after I moved back to Bulgaria, I started traveling around Europe, like just when from like month to month, I go to a different country, and what I found, like a lot of the time, I just meet like these parallels between Bulgaria and England. Everything was Bulgarian, Bulgaria this England, Bulgaria this English, and like the huge benefit of like Europe at the moment is that you so fragmented. So wherever you go, like you see like a different perspective.
Mhm.
That's what I thought about, for example, Austria. You know, where Sweden was like it gave you like the different perspective of that. You know, it's not just those two perspectives. So many more.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and you're right. It's understanding what each culture or country seems to focus on more, what we in anyone's life really, but what the mass of our country seems to want to prioritize. Well, part of the culture.
Yeah.
Like here in Sweden, it seems to be equality is extremely high in terms of the priority, and like that means there's a higher tax or there's better welfare because you want to have quite a fair, I guess, a fair playing ground or playing field. People obviously there's still some inequality, there's still privilege, but there's less privilege. It feels like than England, mainly because education is free. You haven't, as you said, you can get loads of bursaries, but you still have to live, and it's expensive to live in England. Expensive to live in Sweden, but in England, it's you don't have the luxury that I think you get here so much with help for studying. And I guess it's similar in a lot of European countries. You get a lot more assistance from the government or from the governing body to study, as you mentioned about Germany being cheaper than England for tuition fees. It's that's a fact. I guess how is your German if you were going to live in Germany?
Oh, my German is non-existent. Like I that's why I think. But you could go along with a English speaking degree. That's why I consider it. Like everyone. Yeah.
But you'd have to speak German in Germany because the day-to-day life.
Yeah. But that's why like I was no.
Is it einfach?
Oh yeah.
Is it easy?
Fine. Maybe.
Yeah. Perfect. And then I guess okay. So you've would you have ever wanted to live? Going back to Germany, England, do you wish you went to Germany for your studies, or are you happy that you stayed in England?
No. Like as I said, I mean, when I went there, you made a good point. Like when I went there, the language was a very big thing. So the fact that I would be speaking in English to everyone, I didn't know German, I didn't know, for example, to go there, I was a big point. I think that's really good because, I think, I think that's still. I don't know. As I said before, like England now is, I know so much. Reason why I can make why I can make sense is because I'm closer now, culture. So go back and say no, like I'm gonna go in Germany instead. Like I don't know, like it's every country has like its own culture, and it sounds good, sounds bad, but at the moment, England, I guess I've just got closer to England, and let's change it.
I mean, we have some of the best humor you can get on the European continent. So.
That's true. It's like Monty Python. Like I think that's one of the things I've done that I'm very happy with, and I'm proud of. Is like I still like when I was in working and stuff like that. I watched a lot of British TV humor. So like the shows that you have that like I don't know like these questionnaires and we had to like oil and like these English comedians. Like I watch a lot of them. Oddly enough, would I lie to you?
Oh, Will I Lie to You is so good. Yeah, we have really good TV and really good like I guess, comedy satire, where it's like, for me, Have I Got News for You is like, it's a TV show where they just take like shots at the news in the last week, and so is Mock the Week, and it's like, the news is so bad right now, but at least laugh about it.
Yeah. But yeah, and also like the old stuff like Monty Python, for example, is something that so definitely a humor show. Yeah, absolutely, humor is good.
It's one of our best exports, I think, on British TV. Like Monty Python and Mr. Bean. So.
Yeah, that's true. I think.
Perfect. And then I guess, would you ever live in England again? Now you've moved back home, and I guess you're happy in Sofia.
Yeah.
Would you ever go back?
Maybe to London. I mean, I think London is a good city if you have money. So I mean, there's definitely some, it has to be the right opportunity. I wouldn't go back to the north, I don't think. I mean, it's good to have it as an experience, but I wouldn't imagine myself living there. But definitely like London and also some other. I definitely go back and visit. But I think it's a close to me. So I'm back here and maybe ready for something new.
I guess it's hard if your family and everything, you're all back in Bulgaria to them again. Like, just on that, like, what was it like living, because you went when you were 18 away, right? And the first time, what was that like? That whole experience of being homesick. Did you have any home comforts?
No, that was the big thing. Like, it wasn't. So it was very hard. Yeah, part of the reason why I'm back is essentially because I wanted to be closer to where I grew up and to kind of have some continuity in my life. Being able to kind of experience my, I left 14, and stuff in Bulgaria were obviously not great and are not it's not the most prosperous world. So kind of, it's so like getting some context on myself and my family and when what's how it's going was the main reason I came back. So right now I feel like the need to stay here. And then maybe in a couple of years, maybe I'm gonna go, okay, I know enough. And I can do something else.
No, it's good. And I guess now you've got your kind of education, it wouldn't matter where from. Being as clever as you are and as qualified as you are, you'll be able to live wherever you want. That's the reason why my parents pushed me to engineering, is that you'll always be able to work somewhere. So it's it's a privilege in itself, is the education you get.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a big point.
And how have you found working in Bulgaria to working in England, as a kind of my penultimate question?
So I still work, like I don't work with Bulgarians anyways. I work for an American company and I still work with European teams. So it's not too different. I don't think, because anyways it's I don't know, it's just the same. Or like if I work in Bulgaria, I mean, because the first job here that I did like an engineering job here where I worked for. It's fine, but still like mod or consultant. And then there was for a university with Chalmers, and that's why I went to Sweden. And now it's just an American company and then work on things. So I don't think at this point, I think for work, you're in like a global pool of talent anyways, and you just have to see where you feel comfortable with your personal life to relocate, right? So that I don't find it all that different.
Awesome. And then my last question is, what was your favorite British saying?
My favorite British saying? Okay. I can't remember much of like British sayings
or British isms. Something like some social commentary you might have of English.
Yeah. No, I have other ropes. I don't know. I can't think of I can think of stuff, but right now, no.
Really? Not like dilly dally or
dilly dally? Is that the thing?
Yeah, you've not heard dilly dally? Like, yeah,
dilly dally. No,
it means like faffing about, which is another one, like taking your time and
dilly dallying. Okay,
yeah, dilly dally.
Next time somebody asks me that question, I'm gonna answer dilly dally. That's right.
Great. So thank you, Stoyan, for indulging me in this podcast and sharing your experience of living in Britain or England. I've really enjoyed kind of like reminiscing a bit of the times in Liverpool. I didn't actually realize you hadn't been on a plane before moving to Liverpool, which is because I guess it kind of shows about my the look I had as a kid. Just my parents prioritized a lot of foreign holidays growing up. But yeah, I couldn't imagine the fear or the excitement or the nerves you must have had, moving initially. So yeah, thank you for sharing that with me. And as always, it's been really fun to catch up and focus on talking to someone as a friend, but only about one specific topic. I feel you learn so much more about the person. And as I've been doing this podcast, I've been asking my friends this one sort of thing, like, why are you here? Or why did you move somewhere? And it's not something you would necessarily ask them normally. So thank you for being here. And yeah, any closing statements from yourself?
Thanks a lot for having me. And it's great that to be actually actually asking these questions. I think it's
Yeah, no, I think from doing that, it builds stronger friendships because you have that kind of deeper connection than just making jokes in the pub or talking about volleyball. But yeah, no thanks. And if you have enjoyed this podcast or you found something of interest or you want to ask any more questions, please let us know in the comments or get in touch on social media. And as always, if you want to support, you can subscribe on every platform. You can even follow on Patreon now. I've improved, which is all linked in the show notes. And we'll see you next time, the Expat Pod.